Hi, Jodi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So excited to see you. Excited by the news you just told me, but we'll get to that
Yes.
first. Let's start from the very beginning. If you can think about your life and your career before you joined Find Your Fulfilling Career, how would you describe it?
Just going along with the flow and not really putting a lot of intention into my career. So just, taking jobs that seem like the most logical, next step in the progression of my career. Um, Even though I've been dissatisfied with my career for a long time, but just,
Mm,
applying to jobs, I would just apply to jobs that I thought I could easily get because I already had very similar experience or had done the same thing. So I just
mm.
kind of just went along and was swept along and wasn't very intentional about my career.
Wow, yeah. I heard you saying you were swept along, and it sounds like you were following some of those shoulds. You thought because you had done this, you should do this next. And so you were just kind of going with the flow because it's what you thought was expected of you, even though you had been disappointed and dissatisfied for
Yeah.
a while, you were still kind of going with that motion and going with the flow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did that bring you to FYFC? So I'm curious because you've been going with the so you've been going the flow for a while. At what point did you decide, you know what, it's time for something else?
I was a few months into my current job, and I actually saw a post of yours on Instagram, and the post said something to the effect, if you just started your new job and are wondering if it's too early to look for another job, you should look for another job.
I know that post. I
Yes.
know that post.
And I was like, that is a sign, and that is me, and let me email her right now. Okay. And because my current job, even though I hadn't been here very long, it was the same kinds of job. And I said, you know what, if I don't do something now, then I'm going to be here for another 7 to 8 years being
Mm-hmm.
unhappy and
Mm-hmm.
saying woulda coulda shoulda. So yeah, your Instagram post, that was the sign that I needed because I was already thinking, is it too early? I only been here 6 months. Is it too early to look for another job?
I was saying I'm laughing because I went live on Instagram today and I legit was just talking about that where if you're saying to yourself, is it too soon to leave? Girl, it's time to go. Like that's a
Time to
sign.
go. Pack your stuff and go.
Like go. Wow. Okay. So that post really resonated and you emailed and you were like, oh, I gotta talk to her. And I'm curious, was there something that maybe convinced you that yes, FYFC was right, or were you already ready to go before we even had a conversation?
I was ready to go before we even had a conversation. But the thing that I loved, from talking to you is that the program, it is very structured,
Mm,
and it has a certain flow to it, and it
mm,
goes into depth. It's not fluff like a lot of times you see folks on IG where they have coaching programs and it's all fluff, and you're just like, okay, so what am I getting out of this? Like, what am I doing? So yeah, when you went over everything, I was like, okay, this is going to be hard work, but this is the kind of inner work that you have to do in order
yeah.
to really make that shift. So it was timing and just the structure of your program. I was like, let's go. I'm ready.
You're like, let's go. And girl,
Let's
your girl
do
don't do
this.
fluff. I'm like, look, if y'all are gonna make an investment, you're gonna get a transformation. We ain't doing no fluff up in here. No,
No
ma'am.
fluff up in here. And you know what? But you use the right word though, investment, because we will spend money on vacations, on
Mm,
clothes,
mhm,
on things to make ourselves feel better because we don't like our jobs or our lives. But then
mhm,
we'll second guess about making an investment about a coaching program. And no,
mhm.
we what better person to invest in than yourself? So
Yes.
I was like, let's make this investment. Let's do
Yes,
this.
let's go. I mean, you were ready to go. You were like, nah, I'm not doing this for another 6 months.
I ain't gonna be here for another 7 years. Y'all ain't gonna catch no. Y'all ain't
I
gonna
love
catch me
it.
here.
Like, you're not
Come,
gonna
come
catch
be.
me slipping. No.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay, so let's transition. So you got in the program. I'm curious to hear. what would you say, what part, either activity or coaching session, what part of FYFC would you say was most helpful for you or most significant?
I would say the most helpful part was identifying my core values, those most important values, because, I already know what I like to do. I know I like to write and research, and, I know the things I like to do, but I couldn't tell you what job that would lead to. But knowing my values was what was really the game changer, so that I know that any job I look at, any organization I look at, it has to capture these values. And if I at least know that, that can be like my North Star. So that was
Yeah.
really important, because there were things I didn't even realize were my values. Like I never really realized that, I actually prefer to work autonomously alone, not be in a bunch of meetings all day, every day, not be around a whole bunch of folks. And I've supervised, departments of people, and just never realized, I don't really like that.
Feel like this is just for the birds.
Yes.
But you know what? I actually remember the coaching session. I think it was after the values week where you were like, I've been working with people for pretty much my entire career and I don't like it. Like I just feel like I don't want to be around people so much.
I don't, and I don't want to supervise people. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, but I have done it because I felt that, okay, if I have this job, the next thing I should want to do
Is
is,
manage.
supervise an entire
Mm-hmm.
department of, a bunch of attorneys. And no, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, be at the top of an organization where I'm like reporting to the CEO or the president. I know those things look good on paper and people think they should aspire to that, but I'm good. I'm good with not doing that. I just want to do impactful, important work and be effective,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and do a lot of writing and research and make a difference in the world. And, without the fluff, no
Mm-hmm.
fluff.
No fluff. We're not doing
No
fluff up
fluff.
in here.
I'm
Okay.
done with fluff.
So that sounds like week two, clarifying your values. That was most impactful for you because, I heard you say beforehand, you kind of knew what you liked, what you enjoyed, but you had never been able to connect it with careers. And so FYFC, clarifying your values, really helped you understand the kind of environment and sort of the kind of work you want to be doing in moving forward. So then as we think about life after FYFC, you shared some great news with me right before we started
Mhm.
recording.
Yes.
But before we get, I'm just in general, what would you say are some of your wins from going through the program?
So I think, definitely the biggest one is that I'm now more flexible and open to opportunities. And, I can admit, I don't know what my dream job or what my next step looks like, but I'm open to seeing whatever floats my boat, whatever seems happy. Like I'm just gonna follow my bliss and compare that to my core values. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's been like a huge shift. And because of that, I recently applied for two jobs that I would have never applied to before the program, because I've
Mm-hmm.
had this history of seeing jobs I like, but not having the courage to apply for them because they're so different from what I have been doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
applied to these jobs and I got an interview, for one of them. So yeah, so definitely wins getting those cover letters out there, those resumes out there, and getting those interviews.
I'm so excited for you. I'm gonna be praying for you. You said something before we came on that I thought was so powerful. You said in 22 years, this job search, this is the most authentic you have been in the job search. Can you tell me more
Yeah.
about that?
Sure. So, whenever I apply to jobs, I always hide some part of myself because I think it is not relevant, or, it'll make me look like a bad candidate, or someone may
Mm-hmm.
think I'm unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with this application and the one 22 years ago, it's interesting. They were both at nonprofit organizations,
Wow.
and I used my personal life experiences to talk about why I was interested in the job and why I thought I was, qualified for it. I talked about my caregiving responsibilities in both of those jobs, 22 years apart. And with this job, I was like, yes, and I'm a writer, and I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I've done this and I've done that. And because I really felt that they needed to know me in order to see that, no, it's not random that I would be interested in this job, that it actually is in line with my values and my life experiences. And so, yeah, it felt really good to apply for something and get a call back being completely myself. It's like mind blowing.
And that makes me so happy for you. Like, I love that. And I'm curious, do you think FYFC helped you at all with being able to present in that authentic way? Did the program contribute to that?
Absolutely, because in order to make sure the job is aligned with your values, you've got to be honest to make sure that it is truly aligned and not just, talk, or not just, superficial. And so I was like, well, y'all talking about it. Let's see if you really about it. Let me just lay
You
this
about
out.
it? Like, are you about it?
like my writing sample was about the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, I was really I was out there. I was just out there.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. So it's definitely, yeah, this program, I mean, it was so wonderful because it really opened, my eyes to just knowing myself more and being more intentional. And that's really it. You have to be intentional about your life, or you will get swept along and be in the same career for 16 years, talking about, but I ain't happy.
She's like, you talking, but you're not doing that. Oh man, thank you so much for sharing, Jodi. I truly, that makes me so happy because that's the ultimate goal with this program is know yourself so that you can find work environments that align with who you are. So to hear you say that you were able to be intentional and really put it all out there and show up authentically, and you're getting this interview, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you for this program. Thank you. I've been telling my friends, they be texting me talking about they don't like their job. I'd be like, well, here's the link. I can do this program. You should.
You're like, don't complain. Go apply.
Don't complain, because I'm working on cover letters. We're working on cover letters over here.
I love it.
Things to do.
Oh gosh. The last question for the woman who's listening, maybe it's one of your friends who's listening and they're still on the fence. They're like, I don't know if FYFC is right for me or not. I don't know if I should do it. What would you say to her?
You should definitely do it. I mean, take it from someone like me who, when I was applying to jobs this time around, I looked back at old cover letters that I had written like 5 years ago. Like I had been trying to leave my old job for like 5 years.
Wow.
And it's fear, and it's all because of fear. And I think this program will really help you kick fear in the butt and sort of really take stock of all that you have to offer and all that you are and who you are, to find a job and a career that's right for you. It's going to really change how you view job searching and view your career. So sign up, y'all. Don't listen. Sign up. No stagnancy and no fluff over here.
No stagnancy and no fluff. I love it. Well, thank you for those parting words. I think that was really powerful, that piece about fear. And I thank you for saying, the program will help you kick fear in the butt, because we talk about it. Like in week 1, we jump right in talking about fear. And so thank you for sharing that. It's been such a pleasure connecting with you again and speaking with you, Jodi.
Thank you.
If you're tired of feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in a career that feels like it's sucking the life out of you, but you're not sure how to make your transition or what you would do next, I invite you to apply to find your fulfilling career. FYFC is an exclusive, intimate group coaching program for the woman who is unhappy at work and ready to find a career that allows her to live on purpose and thrive in her zone of genius. If that sounds like you, visit findyourfulfillingcareer.com to submit your application today.